Theokoles of Rome kind of asked that I upload this, or he asked where the Getae battle was, and I think this was the battle he meant. Macedon versus Getae. Another fun battle. We had a lot of those, a total of 5 I think, and they were all pretty good, interesting games against a decent opponent. He wouldn't allow me saying that he was a good opponent, but he allowed average, so very modest Theokoles. Our builds are first me, Macedon, 4 hoplites, fairly standard stuff here. 4 hoplites in the center, 2 Thurio spears on the flanks, javelins, and just a mirrored flank setup. 4 Thurios in the center, 2 mercenary Rhodian slingers. So 4 skirmishers, 6 cavalry, and 9 infantry, I believe. Well, actually I have more infantry. I have 10 infantry, okay, so 6 cavalry, 4 skirmishers, and 10 infantry. And Theokoles went for 4 bow horsemen, 6 armored spears, 4 Dacian heavy skirmishers, 1 noble horse, 4 spear horse, and 1 noble swords. Now this is not far off from what I like to use as Getae, but there's a small difference. I like to have only 3 bow horsemen, only on the flank that is unshielded for your opponent. I like to have 2 noble swords, and I like to have 2 axe warriors for the flanks, and I remove a spear horse and I remove a noble horse. So I like to field more infantry, less cavalry with the Getae, because I feel 3 bow horsemen, that's plenty enough to do what you need to do with harassment and so on. So we're just going to keep plodding forward. Theokoles has the skirmishing advantage. It would seem, however, I have these Thurio spears that are able to, although they don't throw the best javelins, they do throw 120 of them per volley. So since he's pushing his bow horse over to his flanks, I'm going to move my mercenary Rhodians over to my flanks to try to get some kills on this bow horse. And I'm also going to run my Thurios forward. Now that might not have been the smartest thing to do, because then I'm telegraphing very clearly what I'm about to do here. So I probably just should have tried to get some shots off with the Rhodians. Theokoles is moving forward. I'm just standing here. I don't want to open myself up too much to his cavalry. Just want to stay nice and protected. So I'm sending my mercenary Rhodian slingers into position near the center, and trying to extend this flank slightly, looking for an opening when the engagement comes. Since I do have a lot of cavalry here, I'm looking to create openings so I can get in and rear charge and get some units, because he does have a very strong front. I won't be able to punch through with these hoplites. They will just stop against the armored spears, and it will be a stalemate for quite some time. And for all that time, these Dacian heavy skirmishers are going to make it very, very bad to me in Macedonian. So here his armored spears are chasing away my guys a little bit. I am going into square with my Thurios, because I don't want to be bothered microing a Thurio spear unit on this flank, and this way they'll be able to hold for quite some time. I'm going to swing my cavalry around here and just start firing on his spears. Basically I'm going to go into square formation over here as well, and here Theokoles is going to get the better charge here against this one unit of citizen cavalry, but this other unit of citizen cavalry is going to go into the spear horse and do a little bit of damage. My javelins are coming in to support the fight, and that's going to kill the spear horse very quickly. A unit of Thessalian cavalry charging into spear horse. The Thessalian cavalry are superior, so they got the best charge there. And here I am able to pull the cavalry unit that I left here by extending my flank. I'm able to pull it into the center. These are citizen cavalry, so I can afford to lose them, but I just want to push away these Dacian heavy skirmishers, maybe kill a few of them, but mainly just push them away and draw units away from these engagements. Over here the bow horse are already losing this combined force, or the spear horse, and another unit of spear horse is wavering. These Dacian heavy skirmishers are wavering. and this unit of armored spears was also destroyed mainly by missiles. So looking pretty good for me at the moment. He still has most of his key units left alive. These noble swords are extremely dangerous. My citizen cavalry was defeated. Now I'm going to send in my second unit of citizen cavalry and just try to get at these Dacian skirmishers and into these armored spears that weren't braced. So a bit of a waste sending in citizen cavalry like that, but it's going to buy me some time, and I do have some companions here that are set up to do some major damage. So here the Thessalians finished off their fight. This is pretty much a stalemate between the armored spears and the Thurio spears, but this unit of javelins is going to tip the scales in my favor. My citizen cavalry are regrouping and resting for a bit on this flank, and the same here. I'm resting my Thessalians a bit, now they are fresh. Over here my Thurio spear squares are doing fairly well against armored spears, and spear horse are no match for companions, but I have to get my companions out of there before these armored spears get in. So I'm just going to try to hold for a little while until these mercenary Rhodian slingers and javelins can finish off the spear horsemen, and then I'm going to pull out. So I'm able to pull out just in time, just before these guys are able to get into my units. Well, they are able to get in, but because they aren't braced, I'm just able to run through them, straight through them like that. So good for me. Over here my citizen cavalry is getting shot to pieces by these 4 bow horsemen. They can kill cavalry very quickly. Over here I'm just rear charging these armored spears, sending in my javelins because they are out of ammunition, and charging in my companions against his noble swords, getting some more kills there, but nothing spectacular on those guys. I really need to kill his noble horse and his noble swords, so now I'm pushing forward with everything I've got. It's time to go on the offensive. I'm going to push back his skirmishers. I don't want to take unnecessary skirmisher fire. My Thessalian cavalry is sneaking past these bow horse, while the bow horse destroyed my citizen cavalry, and they are almost going to destroy my Thessalians. But I have enough infantry. My infantry hasn't taken that many casualties, so I'm just pushing forward with all my infantry, trying to catch him wherever I can. This Thessalian cavalry, I probably didn't notice it was taking fire, but it's dying very quickly indeed to these Dacian heavy skirmishers. I'm not aware of that unit at all because I'm busy microing these units and watching what's happening. So the noble swords are going down mainly to Rhodian slinger fire from here and here, which is fine. Thurio spears in square formation are holding for a little while, but still I believe these bow horse still have ammunition left, and the square is going to be able to hold for some time, but against this type of arrow fire they're just going to get slaughtered. Look at this. Just dying. Bad deaths. Alright, so over here in the center things are looking a bit better than they are for my Thurio spears over there. I'm able to catch some of his now pretty tired and winded units and round them up, chasing away his spear horse. Now I'm down to only my infantry and some of my skirmishers. I have Rhodian slingers with ammo left, and they're going to be able to kill these armored spears very quickly. But other than that, I'm down to Hoplites and Thurio spears. So I've managed to deal with Theokoles's cavalry for the most part, but he still has this noble cavalry and these spear horsemen. Now Theokoles has lost the opposite units I have. The Theokoles has lost most of his infantry. He has these skirmishers left, but most of his cavalry is melee cavalry is gone, but he still has these bow horsemen. I don't think they have ammunition left because they aren't firing right now. They might be conserving it, but I think they are out of ammunition. Here a unit of spear horse is going to charge my Rhodians, I believe, but I'm just going to give attack orders with move the Thurio spears to intercept while trying to shoot the spear horse with the Rhodian slingers. It can be very difficult to catch high quality skirmishers if they are aware that you're coming and they're able to get a volley or two off. Then they can kill quite a lot of horses this short range. Here you can see the horses are dropping. And there is a bit of funkiness going on with them having to orient themselves towards the center of the unit to be able to fire, which is extremely annoying. So instead of firing, you'll see them just turning their lines like this in different directions, trying to get into the arc of fire. So very annoying, but this unit is at least going to be able to kill them now. So now it's just a matter of chasing down what's left of the skirmishers, and I'm not really too worried about the bow horse, because the bow horse only has 35 morale, so I'm thinking that when I manage to kill the rest of his army, then the bow horse is simply going to waver and rout. So manage to catch the noble horse. They are very tired, and very heavy shock cavalry is going to be very slow when it's very tired. Gets a pretty substantial decrease to their speed. And the Theokoles went into square, was able to defeat these noble horse. The other hoplites are chasing after these Dacian heavy skirmishers. They are fresh, so he could pull back for a bit longer with them, but he's not going to, because he is a scholar and a gentleman. So Dacian heavy skirmishers are going down. He charged in the bow horse, presumably because he didn't want to be a jackass and just run them away for 40 minutes. And yeah, just running after what's left with my infantry. And the bow horse are charging in with their massive charge bonus of 4 against hoplites. It's going to go very well for them. They're actually going to be able to knock over a guy or two, but and run through the entire unit. And they're charging in here, trying to help the Dacian heavy skirmishers. But presumably just to make it easy for me to attack him and to finish off these last units. So it was actually pretty close, this battle. Could have gone either way. Like, I guess that could be said about most battles. Let's have a look at the scorecards to see what they say about the performance of our units. Now, bow horse did very well indeed for a fairly cheap unit. Spear horse did horribly. Heavy skirmishers did pretty well. Noble horse didn't do too well. Noble swords always do decent if they're able to get into melee. And overall, these armored spears didn't do too shabbily. My citizen cavalry, well, they're citizen cavalry, they're going to underperform, but I'm not happy with how I used my companions and my Thessalians. Not very good at all. Some of these Thurio spears got absolutely stellar kills for being Thurio spears. 160, 139 is quite decent for being a Thurio spear unit. Hoplites didn't do too well. The Rhodian slingers did very well. And I killed 1284 while he killed 961. I think the reason why this went my way in the end was that I had more infantry able to soak up more damage, and these Thurio spears that were able to function both as skirmishers and as infantry. I think that was the main difference in how we used our armies here, and being able to get into his heavy Dacian or Dacian skirmishers with the citizen cavalry, that was also kind of important, but because he could have killed a lot of my Thurio spears with his Dacian heavy skirmishers, but I don't know how important that really was. It might have just been a waste because these guys are pretty good in melee. So, good game, well played to Theokoles, and there you go. Now I have uploaded the battle. He said he didn't mind losing this one, and I must say I wouldn't have minded losing it either, because it was a very fun and pretty intense game. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on